$53,412. That's what I handed my daughter Rebecca on a Tuesday afternoon in March. By Wednesday morning, my number was blocked. She vanished like smoke, taking 62 years of my life savings with her. I'm Edna Chambers. I'm 84 years old, and I need you to hear this story before you make the same mistake I did. The phone on my kitchen counter hasn't rung in 4 months. It used to ring every Sunday at exactly 2 p.m. Rebecca would call, always rushed, always needing something. Mom, can you help with Katie's school fees? Mom, the car broke down again. Mom, we're behind on the mortgage. For 34 years, I said yes to everything. I thought that's what mothers do. We give until there's nothing left. Rebecca was my youngest, born when I was already 50. My miracle baby, the doctors called her. After 3 miscarriages and years of trying, she was the child I thought I'd never have. My husband Frank died when she was only 12. Heart attack at 59. Left me to raise her alone on his small pension and my part-time job at the library. I worked double shifts at that library, stayed late every night, came in on weekends. Mrs. Patterson, the head librarian, used to say I lived there more than at home. But Rebecca needed things. Dance lessons, nice clothes, college money. I wanted her to have everything I never did. Growing up during the Depression, my family had nothing. We wore clothes until they fell apart, ate beans and cornbread for dinner 3 nights a week. I swore my daughter would never know that kind of want. So I saved every penny. Coupons for groceries, buying generic brands, wearing the same winter coat for 15 years. Frank's life insurance money went straight into savings. I lived on my library salary and saved the rest. $53,000 might not sound like much to some people, but it was everything to me. Every dollar represented a choice. A dinner out I didn't have. A vacation I didn't take. New furniture I didn't buy. I slept on the same mattress Frank and I bought in 1978. The springs creaked so loud I could hear them echo through the house. But Rebecca needed college money, so I kept that old mattress another year. Then another. Rebecca graduated from State with a degree in marketing, got a good job at an advertising firm in the city, married Tom when she was 28, had Katie 2 years later. They bought a house in the suburbs with a pool and a 3-car garage. From the outside, everything looked perfect, but the calls kept coming. Mom, daycare is so expensive. Mom, we want to remodel the kitchen. Mom, Tom's commission is down this quarter. Every time I helped. 500 here, 1,000 there. I told myself it was temporary. Young couples struggle, right? They'd pay me back when things got better. I never asked for the money back. Never even mentioned it. What kind of mother puts a price on helping her child? But the amounts got bigger. 2,000 for new appliances, 5,000 when Tom lost his job for 3 months, 8,000 when Katie needed surgery for her appendix and their insurance didn't cover everything. Each time Rebecca promised it was the last time. Each time I believed her. Most people walk away when stories get this heavy. The fact that you're still listening means you understand what desperation looks like when it wears a mother's face. Hit subscribe if you recognize this pain. There's more coming, and it gets darker. Last December, Rebecca called crying, really sobbing. Mom, we're going to lose the house, she said. The bank is starting foreclosure. We're 3 months behind on payments. I could hear Katie in the background asking why Mommy was crying. My heart shattered. That little girl, my granddaughter, might lose her home, lose her room with the pink walls and the window that faced the backyard where she practiced cartwheels. How much do you need? I asked. The words came out before I could stop them. 15,000 would catch us up, Rebecca said. But Mom, I can't ask you for that much. I had exactly 15,000 in my savings account, the last of Frank's life insurance, my emergency fund, the money I'd saved in case I got sick or needed care or had to move to assisted living. But Rebecca was losing her house. Katie might have to change schools, leave her friends. I'll transfer it tomorrow, I said. Rebecca sobbed harder. Thank you, Mom. I love you so much. We'll pay you back, I promise, as soon as Tom's promotion comes through. The promotion that had been coming through for 2 years. But I didn't say that. I transferred the money. $15,000, gone in one electronic transaction. But the house was saved. Rebecca called that night to thank me. She sounded so relieved, so grateful. For 3 weeks, everything seemed normal. Rebecca called every Sunday. We talked about Katie's school play, Tom's work, the weather. I felt good about helping. This was different. This was their home, their stability. A mother does whatever it takes to protect her family's stability, right? Then February came with another call. Rebecca was crying again, but this time it was different, angrier, desperate in a way that made my stomach clench. Mom, I need help, real help, not just a few $1,000s. We're drowning. Tom had been gambling, casino trips with his buddies that started as occasional nights out and turned into something else, something that ate their savings, maxed out their credit cards, and left them owing money to people who didn't send polite payment reminders. Rebecca found out when a man came to their door asking for $20,000. Told Tom he had 1 week to pay or things would get uncomfortable for his family. I'd never heard Rebecca sound so scared. Mom, I'm terrified. They know where Katie goes to school. Tom says they're dangerous people. We have to pay them. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. How much do you need? 38,000, she whispered. It's everything we owe, plus interest. Mom, I know it's a lot. I know it's probably everything you have, but I don't know what else to do. It wasn't probably everything I had. It was more than everything I had. My savings account had $38,412. Exactly. I'd have to liquidate my small CD, cash out the bonds Frank left me, and scrape together every penny I'd saved in 62 years of working. Rebecca was asking for my entire life savings. But she was my daughter, and Katie was my granddaughter, and dangerous men knew where Katie went to school. I'll get the money, I heard myself saying. You'll what? Rebecca sounded shocked, like she hadn't expected me to say yes, like maybe she'd been hoping I'd say no. I'll get the money, all of it. But Rebecca, this is everything. I mean everything. After this, there's nothing left. The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Then Rebecca started crying again. Mom, I can't take your life savings. That's not right. Then what happens to Katie? I asked. What happens when these men get tired of waiting? More silence. Then, quietly, I don't know. Someone once told me there are rules that change after 60. One of them says that sacrifice without boundaries isn't love, it's self-destruction. I wish I'd known that 30 years ago. If you want to know what those rules are, it's in the description. But I didn't know about rules then. I only knew about love and fear and a granddaughter who might get hurt because of her father's mistakes. I spent the next 3 days liquidating everything. The CD Frank bought in 1985, the savings bonds from my library retirement, the emergency fund I've been building for 23 years. The bank teller, a young man named David, kept asking if I was sure. Mrs. Chambers, this is a substantial amount. Are you certain about this withdrawal? I wasn't certain about anything, but I was sure about Rebecca needing help, sure about Katie's safety, sure about what mothers do when their families are in danger. On Tuesday, March 15th, I handed my daughter a cashier's check for $53,412, every penny I had in the world. She cried when she took it, held it against her chest and sobbed, "Mom, I'll never be able to repay you for this." "You don't have to repay me," I said. "You just have to be safe. You and Katie and even Tom. Just be safe." She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe, whispered, "I love you," over and over in my ear. Promised she'd call me every day to let me know they were okay. That was Tuesday. Wednesday morning, I tried calling to check on them. The phone rang once, then went silent. I thought maybe there was a problem with the connection, so I tried again. This time, it went straight to voicemail. Rebecca's cheerful voice saying they couldn't come to the phone right now. I left a message, asked her to call me back, told her I loved her. Thursday, same thing, straight to voicemail. Friday, I started to worry. What if something had happened? What if those dangerous men had hurt them even after getting their money? I called Tom's office. His secretary said he was in meetings all day. Could she take a message? I called Rebecca's work. Her colleague said she'd called in sick. Would I like to leave a message? Saturday, I drove to their house. First time I'd made that 40-minute drive without being invited. My old Honda creaked and rattled the whole way. The air conditioning hadn't worked in 3 years, and it was an unseasonably warm day for March. When I pulled into their driveway, Tom's truck was gone. Rebecca's car was there, but all the curtains were closed. I knocked on the front door, waited 5 minutes, knocked again. I could hear the TV inside, could see shadows moving behind the curtains, but no one came to the door. I sat in my car for 2 hours, watching, waiting. Around 4 p.m., the front door opened. Katie ran outside to get her bicycle from the garage. She saw me and waved, started running toward my car with her arms outstretched. Then I heard Rebecca's voice, sharp and loud. "Katie, get back here, now!" Katie stopped running, looked confused. Rebecca appeared in the doorway, and even from 50 feet away, I could see her face change when she spotted my car. She grabbed Katie's hand and pulled her inside. The door slammed shut. That's when I knew my daughter was hiding from me. The woman I'd just given my life savings to was hiding from me. I drove home in a daze, kept trying to make sense of it. Maybe she was embarrassed. Maybe she was dealing with the men who'd threatened them and didn't want me involved. Maybe she was protecting me somehow. Sunday came and went. No call at 2 p.m. No call at all. Monday, I tried Tom's work again. This time, his secretary's voice was different, cooler. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Chambers, but Tom has asked that we not put through any more calls from you." Tuesday, I called Rebecca's sister, my older daughter Linda. We hadn't spoken in months. Linda lived in Oregon, and we'd grown apart after Frank died, but I was desperate. "Linda, have you talked to Rebecca lately?" "Actually, yes. She called last week, said you'd been bothering them, showing up at their house uninvited, calling Tom's work. Mom, she's worried about you." bothering them. The word hit like a slap. Linda, I gave her $53,000, every penny I had. Now she won't return my calls. Long silence. Then, Mom, that can't be right. Rebecca said you've been confused lately, making up stories about giving them money they never asked for. The room started spinning. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles went white. I have the bank records, Linda. The cashier's check. I can prove it. Mom, maybe you should talk to someone. A doctor. Sometimes when people get older, I hung up, sat in my kitchen, staring at the phone on the counter. The same phone where Rebecca used to call every Sunday, where I'd answered countless requests for help over 34 years, where I'd said yes to giving away my entire life savings, everything I learned about sacrifice, about boundaries, about trust. It's all in something called the 60-year rule. 9 rules that reverse after 60. I wish someone had given me this 20 years ago. It explains exactly why everything I believed about family was wrong after 60. The link is right below this video. That was 4 months ago. I've called Rebecca's number exactly 17 times since then. Always the same result. 1 ring, then silence. I hired a lawyer with the last $400 in my checking account. He said I could sue, but family financial disputes are complicated. Proving the money was a loan versus a gift is nearly impossible without documentation, and legal fees would cost more than I'd ever recover. Rebecca had covered her tracks perfectly. No written agreement, no witnesses. Just a mother's word against a daughter's convenient memory loss. I eat 1 meal a day now, canned soup usually. The electric company sent a shut-off notice last week. I qualify for food stamps, but the paperwork sits on my kitchen table. I can't bring myself to fill it out. At 84, I never thought I'd be choosing between groceries and keeping the lights on. But here we are. The phone still sits on my counter. I keep it plugged in, even though it never rings. Sometimes I find myself staring at it, remembering Rebecca's voice, the way she used to laugh when Katie did something silly, the way she'd ask about my arthritis, my blood pressure, my loneliness. All of it was performance. 34 years of performance, building to the moment when I'd hand over everything and disappear. I see Rebecca's posts on Facebook sometimes, the account I set up years ago just to see pictures of Katie. Rebecca hasn't blocked me there yet, maybe because she doesn't remember I have it. Last week, she posted pictures from Katie's birthday party, a bounce house in the backyard, dozens of kids, Katie wearing a dress that probably cost more than I spend on groceries in a month. The caption read, "So grateful for all our blessings. Tom got the promotion." The promotion. The one that was supposed to help them pay me back. The one that came through 3 weeks after she took my life savings. I wanted to comment, wanted to ask about the promotion, about the dangerous men, about the $53,000 that saved their house. But I didn't. What would be the point? Rebecca has rewritten our history. In her version, I'm a confused old woman who makes up stories about money, who shows up uninvited and bothers people at work, who needs to be protected from, not protected by. The truth is, I failed as a mother, not because I didn't give enough, because I gave everything. I taught Rebecca that my love had no limits, no boundaries, no consequences. I taught her that she could take and take and take, and there would always be more. When there wasn't more to give, when I'd been drained completely, she discarded me like an empty bottle. She learned exactly what I taught her, that I existed to provide, and when I couldn't provide any more, I had no other value. I should hate her. People tell me I should. The few neighbors who know the story shake their heads and make angry sounds about ungrateful children. But I don't hate Rebecca. I pity her, because someday she'll be 84. Someday she'll be the one making sacrifices for Katie. And if she's taught her daughter the same lessons I taught her, Katie will take everything and walk away. The cycle will continue. 3 generations of women who confused selflessness with love, who mistook boundaries for selfishness. The real tragedy isn't that I lost my money. Money is just numbers in an account. The real tragedy is that I lost my daughter while trying to save her. I loved her so much I taught her not to love me back. I gave so much I became invisible. I sacrificed so completely I erased myself. And now I sit in this kitchen, at this table, with this silent phone, learning the hardest lesson of my life. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes protection means boundaries. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your children is the chance to solve their own problems, face their own consequences, become their own people. I'm 84 years old. I have $17 in my checking account and a stack of unpaid bills on my counter. But I'm not broke. Broke implies I once had something that's now gone. What I had was an illusion. The illusion that Rebecca loved me the way I loved her. The illusion that sacrifice equals love. The illusion that good mothers give until there's nothing left. Those illusions cost me everything. But losing them taught me the most important thing I've learned in 84 years. I am worth more than what I can provide. I exist beyond what I can give. My value doesn't depend on my willingness to be used. If you're still listening to this story, if you recognize yourself in my mistakes, then maybe my $53,000 bought something worthwhile after all. Maybe it bought you the chance to choose differently, to love without losing yourself, to give without giving everything, to be a parent without disappearing in the process. The phone on my counter will probably never ring again, but for the first time in 4 months, I'm okay with that, because I finally understand that silence isn't always abandonment. Sometimes it's the sound of boundaries being born. Sometimes it's the first note of a song about learning to love yourself enough to survive your own generosity. My name is Edna Chambers. I'm 84 years old. I gave my daughter everything I had, and she gave me the greatest gift possible in return. She taught me that everything wasn't enough, and sometimes not being enough is exactly what you need to finally be free.